My name is Primo Goldberg, and I'm going to be presenting on what I learned this semester. But not just what I learned this semester. Since we're all new to MPX, I think that we all learned one thing in common: how to be a good MPX student. And that is what my first thing link is about. This learner profile quality describes perfectly what an MPX student is and what they should strive to be. That being said, what is the most MPX project that we've done this semester? I have to say it was our infographics from STEM. They blend art, science, literature, graphic design into a multifaceted demonstration of this learner profile quality. Like most of the projects we've done, it was self-directed. We had to pace ourselves, self-assess throughout the project through informal peer presentations. We had to create media and design the information that was going to go on the infographic. And after all of that, we had to communicate the quality of what we learned to others and formally to Dr. Hines in the form of defending our grade for him. I chose our lab reports to illustrate this learner profile because communication of such dense information in the reports is difficult, and we used our written words, the digital communication of the graphs we designed in graphical analysis, as well as the speaking done during the actual experiment. Many of the artists of the Renaissance, Da Vinci, Picasso, used math to figure the proportions of their paintings, proportions like the golden ratio. And I was inspired by the way that art helps to organize complex information and find the almost perfect curves of our graphs to be an artistic communication of the data that we collected in our lab reports. One of our biggest creations in MPX Humanities was our scale model of the Manoa watershed. The objective of this project was to gain an understanding of the size and scale of the watershed and to understand what it was like before the construction of houses in the valley and to realize how constricting of the natural water flow the houses are. And finally, to brainstorm ideas on how we could improve the conditions of the stream. We investigated the cultural heritage of the valley with Kumumakana, and we looked at it from a scientific side when we went down to the stream and took water samples. Through these lenses, we were able to discover knowledge that we can use to benefit the environment and the community and use to create a more sustainable Hawaii. We've collected a lot of data. We learned a lot of things over the semester, and they were knowledge and things that we learned from different areas of study. We collected the most for this final H2O project. We were presented with a problem. Water from the base of a waterfall needed to be brought up to a higher elevation. We needed to research what kind of machine might be able to do that, how we would build it, and what kind of materials we would need to build it. We also had to research the standards for science about motion, and these included areas like kinematics, engineering, construction. History came into play as we researched ancient water machines built by the Chinese and architects in the Middle East and Rome. And since we were asked to draw up a diagram of our machine, we also had to research how to draw it, how to do it properly, which is how art came into play. And all of these areas of study were brought together to create our solution, which was our water machine. And finally, the qualities of the learner profile apply to being a good human being, an outstanding global citizen, and a productive member of society. Both of the books we read this semester portrayed characters from life situations that were vastly different from ours. And through reading, reflecting, and Socratic seminars, I believe we were all able to build awareness and develop empathy for these characters. And this empathy is crucial because even though our world is becoming increasingly interconnected, people in places like Cambodia and the Native American Indian reservations aren't connected like we are. Empathy can be gained in many ways. But few schools recognize how crucial it is to becoming an aware human being who has an understanding of not just themselves, but how they fit into the world as a whole. MPX is unique that way. We don't just read books because they're classics. We read them to gain an understanding of the world that is deeper than the standard courses are receiving, which makes us all very lucky to be in MPX. Thank you.